Huge update for Houdini, tyFlow continues adding crazy new features, Unreal Engine got poisoned with NVIDIA AI Venom, Boris FX adds some good AI features to their software, Adobe, despite its catastrophic market situation, still fights for its portion of AI hype. This and many more are what June brought to our industry. My name is Alex Andriel and this is a news recap for June 2026. Tyson, the creator of tyFlow plugin, dropped another bomb this month. This time we got a brand new feature for vehicle simulations. While many people were dreaming about fluid simulations in tyFlow, Tyson surprised everyone by introducing this unexpected system instead. This is literally a killer feature for plugins like Madcar or Craft Animation. tyFlow can now simulate vehicles directly within its node-based ecosystem, allowing them to interact seamlessly with all of its dynamic tools. That means you can drive a vehicle, add secondary dynamics such as flexible plastic parts, antennas or cloth track tents, and then crash or even explode the entire vehicle all within a single tool. And that's not all. In the additions to the cars, tyFlow now supports heavy tanks with an extremely high level of track customization and adjustability. And even more, upcoming builds will introduce AI-driven vehicles. Similar to the manually controlled one, they will feature adjustable suspensions, brakes, speed and other driving parameters. They will also be able to navigate along the splines, follow targets or objects, and intelligently avoid collisions and obstacles. Now you can create your own little demolition derby. Looking ahead, Tyson plans to expand its AI vehicle system even further by adding city traffic rules, making it possible to generate realistic AI-driven road traffic. It's an incredible addition to the 3D Max and its users, and possibly one of the few tools that continues to push the community forward. Speaking of 3D Max community, those who were watching the presentation of new Houdini 22 features might have fallen into depression after comparing it with Autodesk's recent updates. SideFX has done an incredible amount of work on this major release, improving nearly every area of this software. Rigging, the bridge between modeling and animation, has received major updates. KineFX rig templates can now switch between different character models with automatic joint detection while automatically skipping missing elements. There are countless small improvements and workflow simplifications that make everyday rigging much faster and enjoyable. Many systems are now fully procedural, meaning tasks that once took weeks can now be completed far more efficiently, allowing artists focus on creativity instead of technical details. There are also MCP server support for building custom rigs with the help of AI. Animators will appreciate the significant performance improvements. The viewport now can play back large numbers of animated characters at stable 24 FPS, while still allowing full interaction and editing. This is made possible by a new parallel rig evaluation system. Mocha Mixer makes it much easier to build complex animations by blending animations clips directly on the timeline, much like editing footage in a video editor. Hair and fur tools have also received substantial improvements. Clump shapes can now be preserved more reliably, while guide deform has become up to 50 times faster. Numerous quality of life additions, automatic fixing options, and overall optimizations make the grooming workflow much more productive. The muscle system now introduced an ML deformer that significantly improves skin deformation quality, while the overall muscle simulation has become both faster and more realistic. Although polygon modeling may not be the Houdini's primary strength, SideFX still introduced an improved quad remesher with a new rectangular method. The resulting topology follows hard edges much more accurately, often looking surprisingly close to handcrafted meshes. Another interesting modeling feature combines subdivision surfaces with a projected base mesh that remains fully editable throughout the modeling process. Here 3D Max users might finally have reason to smile, since Autodesk has offered a similar workflow for many years. Unfortunately for Max users, that's the only brief moment for optimism, because Houdini 22 continues with even more astonishing additions. One of the biggest highlights is the groundbreaking terrain toolset inside Copernicus. Besides delivering up to 5 times higher performance, it introduces a huge collection of procedural terrain creation and simulation tools capable of producing convincing erosion and other natural landscape effects. Many of these features overlaps with apps like Gaia, for example, but because everything happens directly inside Houdini, artists no longer need to constantly switch between applications or deal with endless importing and exporting. And moreover, since Copernicus is fundamentally a node-based texturing environment, it enables workflows that would be nearly impossible elsewhere, such as creating procedural assets that seamlessly combine terrain generation and texture creation within the same network. I would also mention the new ML nodes, which can replicate mesh surface details from imported images. The Solaris toolset also received numerous technical improvements and quality of life updates for look development and set dressing artists. Paint instances gain many new capabilities, while Edit Lob now includes physics mode that allows artists to manipulate clusters of objects while they remain physically interactive, making it much easier to create natural-looking object arrangements. Environment artists will certainly be excited with this release. Lighting and rendering artists haven't been forgotten either. Houdini 22 introduces new flakes shader, light blockers, and new lighting option called Equiangular Mist, which significantly improves volume sampling by preserving light shapes inside dense volumes while reducing noise. The VFX department at SideFX focused primarily on refining and expanding existing simulation systems. The Bullet solver now supports bending and fracturing, allowing artists to avoid switching to more complex solvers like MPM. Voronoi fracturing is now 3 times faster, making massive destruction simulations even more practical. There are also several magic presets that work straight out of the box, while also serving as excellent learning resources for building more advanced effects. And that's still only scratching the surface. There are tons of small improvements and updates. Trendy Gaussian splat system has received massive performance boost. Also, G-splats can now be rigged, deformed, relit, and even simulated as they were just normal polygon meshes. Additional tools for generating and editing G-splats has also been added. Copernicus continues evolving into incredibly powerful platform that increasingly challenges dedicated applications such as Substance Designer. And finally, Houdini's user interface has received numerous improvements, becoming friendlier, more customizable, and even better looking. Reviewing the entire patch notes with all those tools and features, including all that didn't get to this recap, as a 3D Max user, I find Houdini 22 as really impressive update that done with a great love to the app and its large community. It's a perfect example of product development driven by enthusiasm, keeping the software current with modern workflows and industry trends, while continuously listening to the community feedback and delivering features that artists actually want. During Chicago Unreal Fest in the middle of June, Epic Games took a deep dive into all the upcoming features of Unreal Engine 5.8. Besides all the exciting innovations for game developers, there was a short presentation dedicated to the MCP server that was introduced earlier in Unreal Engine. That particular section gave me a strong flashback to March when Nvidia revealed its DLSS 5 teaser with all of its controversial AI features. Unlike Nvidia's AI integration, Epic clearly states that this technology is currently intended for non-real-time output, making it suitable for cinematics and other forms of video production. Still, there is a little doubt that as technology matures, we will eventually see it in real-time projects as well. In both cases, however, this approach to AI feels rather unnatural, and here's my point of view. For years, and in case of Unreal Engine for decades, developers have been building tools that continuously improve the way geometry, lighting, particles, materials, and shaders behave. DLSS kept teaching us how important technologies like ray tracing were for achieving physically accurate lighting, reflections, or shadows. It's hard to overestimate how much engineering effort has gone into all of these systems. And now in 2026 we are suddenly being told that none of that really matters anymore. You can drop a random asset into the scene, even a free one with no textures and poor geometry, press a button or type a prompt, and supposedly the AI will transform everything into something amazing. Notice how nobody talks anymore about ray counts, texture resolution, physically accurate rendering, or technical achievements behind these modern graphics. Instead, the message has become much simpler. Just look how awesome it is. You want it, just prompt it and get it. To me, that's a very strange direction. I often wonder what the engineers behind technologies like megalights, ray tracing, nanite, and lumen think about this shift. These are people who spend years solving incredibly difficult rendering problems, only to realize that in a few years real-time graphics may become completely occupied with AI-generated approximations instead. But I know what exactly I want as both a gamer and a consumer of digital content. From a visual standpoint, I want physically accurate graphics with believable lightings, convincing reflections, and rich detailed worlds crafted by real artists. I don't mind using AI or other modern technologies to compress textures, optimize assets, generate early concepts, or speed up production. These are valuable tools. What matters is the final image on the screen that feels solid, intentional, and artistically crafted, not like inconsistent AI-generated visual soup that both Nvidia and Epic are currently presenting as the future. Let's move away from the AI plague and talk about AI that's actually useful. Boris FX has updated its professional tracking and match-moving tool, Mocha Pro. Version 2026.5 brings improvements to its existing AI-powered tools along with brand new additions. Point Track ML, previously introduced in Silhouette 2026, has finally made its way to the Mocha Pro tool set. This AI-based point tracker is designed to handle shots that would be nearly impossible for traditional tracking methods. It can accurately track objects even as they deform, rotate away from the camera and then come back to the view. It also adapts well to changing lighting conditions and continuous tracking even when objects overlap or interact with one another. Shots like this would normally become a major headache for conventional non-ML tracking tools. The existing AI-powered tools in Mocha Pro, Object Brush, Mate Assist ML, and Mate Refine ML, have also received noticeable improvements. Thanks to the updates to their underlying AI models, now they produce significantly cleaner and more accurate made edges, resulting in higher quality masks with less manual cleanup. Another popular CG application that had previously attracted attention for introduction controversial AI features also received an update in June. Maxon rolled out Cinema 4D 2026.3, and its relatively minor release built around just a few key additions. A completely new UV editor that replaces the outdated body paint 3D workflow, and 3 new distribution modes for the cloner object. Although Maxon's official YouTube presentation for this release lasted over an hour and 20 minutes, there honestly isn't much to discuss in details. The new UV editor is built directly on Cinema 4D modern viewport technology. Unlike the previous editor, it no longer depends on Body Paint 3D or its legacy architecture. Instead, it integrates seamlessly with almost all of the Cinema 4D modeling tools while keeping the overall UV workflow familiar to existing users. As for the cloner object, Maxon continues expanding the advanced distribution options introduced in previous releases. This version adds 3 new distribution modes: cloning along mesh edges, around the outline polygon faces, and across UV coordinates. June was relatively quiet month when it came to major CG headlines. Aside from the updates I mentioned earlier in this recap, we saw releases such as After Effects, Redshift, and Keyshot. Yet those were mostly minor updates that are better suited for a text review. However, there was a news report that still caught my attention: Adobe's acquisition of the AI company Topaz Labs. After decades of leadership in design and polygraphy, these days Adobe is facing serious troubles. Since their peak in 2021 at the stock market, they have lost 70% to this day and reached minimum level of 2018. There are several reasons behind this trend. One is the growing number of rival applications that offer strong alternatives to Adobe's products, usually with less aggressive pricing strategies. And another major factor is the rapid rise of AI-powered creative tools. It's not a secret that AI has dramatically changed to the design industry over the past few years. Many designers now use AI-assisted workflows to generate concepts or illustrations. Unsurprisingly, Adobe responded by integrating AI features throughout Creative Clouds. Adobe Firefly has essentially become the company's own creative assistant, a modern genie in a lamp where you describe what you want and receive a design or illustration in return. I have to admit that in certain situations some of those tools can be useful and can save some time compared to traditional workflows. Adobe has clearly committed to this AI direction and continues expanding its ecosystem by acquiring complementary technologies. The combination of Topaz Labs, which specializes in developing industry-leading video and image enhancement models, with Adobe's leading creative products will provide creators, designers, video professionals, photographers and enterprises the tools to achieve exceptional quality across every format and workflow. This is how they describe the goal for Topaz Labs acquisition. Let's take a look at the most recent video of Topaz Labs called "Everything We Have Released Recently." Meanwhile, the basic denoising is nice in some cases. From the very start of this video we see this fake plastic face. We used to see such a look only in cheap movies when a younger actress is having an older makeup. Another close-up face, obviously originally created with AI, under the additional AI sandwich of upscaling filters, is getting even more slop. Originally low resolution and some grain were leaving some room for our imagination, but when it's ultra clear we certainly see this is a plastic world citizen. And basically this happens with every AI-generated human bodies or faces. From the nature we have an ability to scan other humans to define is it real, is he healthy and is it safe to approach and interact. This is our superpower. You must be very attentive to the details to spot AI outside of the living being's footage. And yet Topaz Labs gives you a shot where even blind will see it. This dynamic camera fly shot barely has something believable, maybe only the car in the middle. Yet they claim this AI model called Astra 2 is made to add creative details to flat plastic-looking AI-generated footage. One more time, creative details to flat plastic-looking AI-generated footage. This is fascinating to see how both sides, production industry and consumers, are playing this game for last couple years. On production side, the quality bar was dropped to the very bottom, meanwhile being called a creative revolution. At the same time, audience pretends they never saw high-end quality products, either in design or commercials, and happily eat straightforward slope content. That's all for June, comparably quiet months, mostly middle tiny updates, and only Houdini and tyFlow deserves a fireworks. Thanks for watching, see you in the next video, bye.